I pray to the divinity in you. Seven minutes for questions, but some useful questions. And do not let out your useless emotions on me. Yes.
In the breathing, we mentioned it. Timing is compared by counting. This counting creates a very subtle jerk. How to avoid that?
You are true. That cannot be avoided. Yet you have to learn to make your breath smooth without just mentally. Or then, for that, there is a way. You don't have to count, you see. You feel as though you are breathing right from the crown of your head to the toes, and coming back from the crown, toes to the crown of your head, and then catch hold of the thread of the pranas with exhalation and inhalation, go far as you can. If you study the book Sant Janeshwar's Gita, he explains that technique which I experimented, and that's very useful.
But the ratio 1 to 1 is there, but 1 to 2 cannot be done that way.
1 to 2 can be done that way. If you exhale and go beyond, you see. Yes.
Swamiji, during Mandukya Upanishad, you mentioned that inhaling should be done from the base of the spine to the crown, and exhaling should be done from the crown to toe.
That's a different technique. That technique is different.
That was for Turiya?
That technique is different. Then when you start mentally, there are two things. You know, man and woman's relationship, sometimes man tries to be predominantly strong and sometimes woman. So sometimes the stress is given on the breath and sometimes on the mind. On the breathing exercises, breath first and mind follows, then you ask mind first and then breath should follow after you have trained. That technique is practiced when you have trained your breath so that breath do not have jerks, noise, pause, you see, and shallowness. In such a case, then you do it mentally.
Why I ask this question is that from spine to crown and crown to toes helps in 2 to 1 ratio more than from toe to crown and crown to toe.
Mm-hmm. That helps. Yes.
How can I become fearless?
By examining fears. And I am going to give you a technique. For the therapists and doctors, this technique, if they remember, this is very useful. Nothing higher than this, which I am going to teach you today. And that is also called Manaprakshalanam. How to wash your mind, how to purify your mind. But knowing is not very helpful. Sometimes it could be dangerous. You know and you don't do. Practicing is important. And when you start practicing, everything will follow. So you should know that. Yes.
How can one overcome loneliness?
Very easy. I always used to think, actually in the world, one disease that cannot be cured, and perhaps it's the source of all diseases. Loneliness creates fear, loneliness creates insecurity, loneliness creates many things. Perhaps that is the center of all the diseases, psychosomatic diseases. But people don't want to recognize it, And because of that insecurity, people get married to get rid of loneliness. You see, and instead of getting rid of it, it increases. I find two people sharing the same roof, bed, you see, claiming each other to be very happy, and yet both are lonely. So what is that loneliness? Let me repeat. I have been telling you a story, and in my childhood, when I was a teenager, I was very fearless, but arrogant. And my master did not know how to, you see, help me. You see. Arrogant in a way, I used to think, nothing is impossible for me, my master will do it. With that feeling, I became arrogant. So one day, a prince of that state where we used to live in the mountains, where there was earthquake recently, came to visit, and he came from London. So his father said, go and meet the Swamiji, who is our revered teacher, and then take over. So, with all his paraphernalia, secretary, guards, and as I thought, many people coming, it never happens to our cave. And gunmen. So I stood outside, I said, who are you? So secretary came forward, says, sir, he is a prince of this state. I said, I am the prince of this cave. You see, how come you have, without my permission, you get out of this place? So the secretary was a little bit mature, so he understood that this boy has some problem, you know. So he said, sir, can I see the master? I said, since you are humble, I will allow you. You see. Because he said, the secretary said, do you know he is a prince of this estate? That annoyed me. Who cares? Who is prince? You see. It's a 12th century business. So he came and he went inside. Exactly, I was with him with his folded hand. He said, good morning to you, sir. And he said, I had his I mean, okay, good morning. And if you really analyze, what do you mean by good morning? It is not wishing somebody, it is wishing the morning. These are Western mantras, you know. Sorry, sorry, thank you, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. They don't carry any sense. But it has become a custom, so everyone says good morning to you. Good morning is good morning for us both. Why are you reminding me? Say something useful, you know, don't waste my time. So here, so he didn't say anything after that. He said, sir, you seem to be lonesome, he said. And what did he answer? Beautiful. Hence you have come, I have become lonesome. If you really analyze your relationship, all the relationship you have, who makes you lonely?